Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the False Nine podcast. Stephen here. I'm back. We had a few technical difficulties last week, but I'm back. And usual four again. Charlie, Luke, Connor, thanks for joining me again. Just a Premier League preview. We've been trying to do a review and preview every week, but it's been hard because our college timetables clash and they like last semester. But anyway, first game, champions elect City v West Ham. West Ham in fourth at the moment. They have a bit of a cushion on Chelsea and then a bigger cushion on us, actually. West Ham obviously been outperforming or overperforming their expectations this season. Charlie, like we've seen City like basically steamroll ever since kind of Diaz has cemented his place in the team. Do you just see that continuing on Saturday, or can you see this West Ham team full of confidence doing something?
No, I think City will just continue to steamroll the competition. I think West Ham are obviously in good form.
Yeah.
They beat Tottenham last week. Lingard's playing well for them. Obviously, they have Rice, who people highly rate. But I think City are just too strong at the moment. They've won, 19 games in a row. Everything's so fluid with them. They have a solid defence. They've always had a solid attack. De Bruyne is back, Aguero's coming back, so I can't see anything other than another City win. And at this point, they're just running away with the title.
Yeah, it's weird. Obviously, like if this is a normal season, like for us, I'd be hoping West Ham can get something, but now I'm hoping City win so we can catch up with West Ham, which is embarrassing. But Luke, with West Ham, obviously David Moyes, like he's been written off before. Remember, he was actually sacked by West Ham in his first spell because they were close to relegation zone. What have you seen in that's different from the rest of his managerial career? Like, what has he changed anything in your opinion, or do you think he's just got this group of players that we all thought had potential to finish high enough up the table? Has he just got them clicking, or have you seen any changes?
Yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. I think he's just got a good group of players to actually fulfill their potential, because I think last season when West Ham were down towards the bottom of the table, I think we all knew that they were a lot better than that position. They shouldn't be in a relegation fight with the squad they have. So I think Moyes has done a good job to get them to gel together, and now they look like the good team we all thought they could be. So he's done a good job.
Yeah, I agree. I think obviously when West Ham moved into the stadium and stuff, and they were attracting bigger players. Remember Felipe Anderson? He's obviously nowhere near the starting level at the moment, but like we saw this West Ham team going up a level maybe after Payet in terms of who they're able to attract, but it wasn't really working. And but it's starting to come it's starting to come to fruition at the moment. Obviously, Noble's come to the end of his career, so Rice is kind of taking that mantle of the captain. He's young and he's really leading that team. I think obviously Rice, I don't think he's the prettiest player to watch, but he's just such a leader on the pitch. He covers every blade of grass, and he kind of reminds me of Henderson a little bit, like just a leader of the team, and he's got kind of that group of players working. Connor, on Lingard, actually, I want to talk about Jesse Lingard. Obviously, he hadn't look. Let's be real. I know he had problems off the pitch and stuff, but he wasn't playing great. So he's obviously looked to get first team football elsewhere. Like I think I can speak for everyone who watches football. Everyone's kind of delighted that he has found some form. Do you think, you know, going forward now with him, like West Ham is the perfect place for him to kind of take forward his career, or would you see him going back to United and try to prove that he's good enough?
I think he does have the quality to be at United. I think before, like obviously with the personal issues and stuff at home, he's kind of underperforming, and there's a lot of expectation like when you're at United.
Mm.
Whereas West Ham, the standards are lowered a bit, so he's able to perform without the spotlight being on him. And obviously, he is doing well now, so he's been talked about a lot. And United fans would say Charlie and Luke, like he probably taken back with his current form at the moment. And I mean, if he keeps it up, I don't see why he can't go back and get into the starting team at United.
Yeah, I think for me, obviously, look, West Ham doing well. I really want them to lose so we can catch up with them, as I said. But with City at the moment, anyway, like I just, it's not, I like, I don't think they're scoring as much as like we used to see in the past with City, but it's just they don't look like conceding. Like only maybe a penalty or something that they might concede something like that, or they might concede a kind of worldly or something. But apart from that, like, they just don't look like they're going to concede at all. So starting off with the predictions, I'm probably just going to go 2-0 City. Like, they seem just to kind of put the game to bed without, like, by just holding on to the ball, dominating possession. And I think, yeah, 2-0 would be mine. And what about you, Charlie?
I think it will be comfortable for City, but I'm only going to go 1-0.
Luke?
I was going to go 1-0 as well, actually, to City.
And Connor?
I'm going to go 2-1. I think West Ham might get a goal, nick a goal, and then, but I reckon City will win anyway.
Another team that we could do with dropping points is Leicester. They're up against Arsenal this weekend at home. It's weird because you think Arsenal would be the favourites here, considering they're supposedly a big club and all that, but there it's bottom half, 13th, if I'm correct. They're actually below teams like Leeds United, who only got promoted this year. They're 11th. Sorry, they're 11th. They've gone up a few places, but yeah, below teams like Leeds United, who are only promoted. But that doesn't matter. They're still a big club, Arsenal anyway. But Leicester third. They seem to kind of have that a bit of a gap that they couldn't really establish last season, which saw them drop out of the top four. So they're looking pretty nailed on at the moment. They've got a 6-point bridge to Chelsea, a 9-point bridge to Liverpool, and they're 4 points clear West Ham. It's weird. It's a weird one with kind of Arsenal though, Charlie. It just seems like that this is Arsenal. Like, this is it. Like 10th, 11th. Like, we're kind of. I feel like for parts of the season, we're kind of expecting Arteta to start get a string of results together and this team start kind of churning out wins. But is this just it now? Is this Arsenal 10th, 11th for the next couple of seasons, unless there's huge investments?
Yeah, I think at the moment they just look like a team that could be fighting for Europa League places and nothing more than that. If you look at their squad, I don't really rate anyone in it apart from Saka. I would have said Aubameyang last season, but he's not been good this season either. Obviously Partey as well, but he's been injured, so that is unlucky for them. But like, I was looking at a stat earlier, and their expected points is higher than the amount they actually have, and they're underperforming it by quite a good bit, while all the other teams like Leicester and West Ham are overperforming it. So that's why the gap has got so big. And I think you can say it's a process from Arteta all you want, but we're not really seeing any progress. Really, they're sort of declining from where they were, if anything. I know some people might argue that their squad is getting older, but like, I don't think Arteta is getting the best out of a lot of the players, such as like Aubameyang and Pepe, who would be considered probably the highest quality players at the club. So I think some Arsenal fans are starting to turn on Arteta, and I think he needs to find a way of getting his best players performing all together so they can mount some sort of form and try and push for at least Europa League.
Yeah, like, I kind of like they're fucking high performers, or they're youngsters like Saka. I think Odegaard's done well, and when he's came in, obviously, and Emile Smith-Rowe, like, obviously it's a good future there if they can hold on to Odegaard. But it's just like, I feel like relying on youth like that to kind of take up the table is just not. It just doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work, especially when there's teams above you like Everton, Tottenham, Liverpool, who are just better. I think we've said it before. Look, there's no point stressing it again. Like, they need investment. It's clear. But on Leicester, Luke, at the moment, they beat us in recent week. They're on a good run as well. Do you think that a win against Arsenal, be it not the best Arsenal team, is just another statement saying, look, this season's different to last. We're not bottling top four.
Yeah, I think they've found their form from the first half of last season again anyway, and they've opened up a gap, which is good for them. But I think we've all been expecting them to kind of just drop off, but it hasn't really happened. They've just continued to win. So I think they are favourites going into the game against Arsenal. Don't think you can deny that. But I think if they win, I think they'll definitely get into the top four this season. I don't think they'll bottle it again. I think serious questions need to be asked if they do end up bottling it again. So they'll probably want to prove a point that they're not serial bottlers and actually get into the top four this time.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is slightly different this year. They've got the experience of from last year. I think it's not as they don't have as many teams that are going to take their spot at the moment. Like for example, last year they had obviously Chelsea United hunting them down. At the moment, it only seems to be West Ham who's a tough one. You can see them falling away, and us who we are shit. So that's that really. But I think in fairness to Rodgers, like I think he is overperforming at this Leicester team. Like I don't think it's the third best team in the country. Like, and you have to give him credit that way. 100%. And I think with the additions of kind of like Justin stuff, your man Justin, and kind of Castagna and stuff like that, a bit more depth, they're able to mount a more serious charge. Connor, before we move on, I want to ask you this, right? Leicester now going into the summer, if they get top four, obviously I think top four is key for them in terms of keeping their players. You think if they don't get top four, do you see their team getting stripped, like the likes of Tielemans, Madison, who else? I was going to say someone. Ndidi as well. Like, do you think top four is key in that sense in keeping their best players?
Yeah, I mean, last season they seem to have retained the squad, and Brendan Rodgers has kind of had the same players for a couple of years now, and he's sort of, you can see what he's trying to do with them, playing like good football there. They have a good balance in the team now. But I think a lot of those players they were kind of patient over the summer. We're not getting Champions League, and I think this season they do need to get Champions League, especially at the moment, as you said, they're like 6 points clear at the moment. So
Yeah.
and yeah, players like Madison, like I think he could easily be playing Champions League. Same with Ndidi, like we saw Ndidi against Liverpool, he was probably one of the best players on the pitch that day.
Yeah.
So yeah, top four I think is a must for them to keep the hold of their best players.
Yeah, I think I agree, 100%. You know, like if they can get top four, they can definitely keep those players, which will be key going forward. If they want to keep getting top four, they can maybe. I see them as like maybe Everton as well. I see them and Everton the only real teams I see in the future breaking into that traditional top six and taking Arsenal place. Like, do you know what I mean? I think they're further along the line than Arsenal. But yeah, predictions. I think I'm going to go with. Oh, see, I know we were just slating Arsenal a little bit there, but like they are the type of team that can get results. But I'm going to go with 2-1 Leicester. What about you, Connor?
I'm going to go 2-0 Leicester.
Luke?
I'm going to go 1-0.
And Charlie?
1-0 Leicester.
Fair enough. Moving on, Tottenham Burnley. I mean, Tottenham obviously Mourinho's under pressure, of course. He's being questioned once again. It's not a surprise, you know. It seems to happen. He gets an initial bounce off the players, like he did last season. After Poch left, and then at the start of this season, and now he's being questioned again for his tactics. And now you come up against a Burnley side who haven't been great at all this season, and they've been poor really, and they're going to make it difficult for Tottenham. Like Charlie with Mourinho, right? I think, in my opinion, I still think there's a great manager there. I do. Maybe that's my bias towards him because I do. I've always been I'm a fan of him. Do you think? Do you see him at any point, be it after Tottenham or at Tottenham, changing and evolving like we've seen with Pep, for example, in the last year or last 6 months or so? Do you see him evolving in any way, or you just see him sticking to his go-to tactics?
I think at the start he kind of tried to evolve. I don't know if you watched the documentary, but
yeah,
when he brought in Doherty, they were meant to like push him really high up the pitch and then play a back three while in possession. Obviously it didn't really work out. Doherty's energy levels, he wasn't really fit enough to play right back, and he was making quite a few defensive errors. So he's brought Aurier back in. That didn't really work either, and now I think Tanganga is the right back. So his original plan hasn't worked out. So I think he's kind of reverted back to his kind of old ways, and obviously the fans aren't really happy with the football they're playing, but they did get a decent win in midweek, so they'll be hoping they can continue that and beat Burnley.
Yeah, I think like with Tottenham and the way Mourinho plays, like, I think, look, I don't think Mourinho wants to play the way they're playing at the moment. Like, he's definitely learned from past years at United that football has changed. But like, how is he meant to evolve and how is he meant to change when he really can't trust many of his players? Like, for example, he's forced to play Dyer, who was woeful. Davinson Sanchez, woeful. As you said, Doherty, woeful. Aurier, woeful. Like, most of their defenders are absolutely atrocious. So I think he doesn't really trust his defenders if he tries to play a bit more of an expansive kind of way. But I think if he wants to keep his job, he's going to have to show something. He's going to have to change a little bit. Maybe seen Dele Alli come back in. I know it wasn't the greatest competition in Wolfsburg or whatever they're called. Wolfsburger, does that make sense? Yeah, something like that. But like, I think maybe the reintroduction of Dele Alli could help. Maybe someone who's a bit more of a creative spark and create more chances. Luke, do you think with obviously Burnley, they're not easy. Liverpool have definitely realised that a few weeks ago. Do you think, with Burnley sitting back, and just see maybe Tottenham again just coming unstuck with not being able to create? Because every time I watch Tottenham and they're playing against a deep block and they're the ones who were forced to dominate the game, they seem to struggle.
Yeah, I think the issue with Tottenham is Mourinho seems to want to play what I would describe as passion merchants over actual decent footballers. I mean, the likes of Eric Lamela playing games over Gareth Bale, like, I don't think that should be happening, especially when you've brought in Bale and the wages that he's on. So I think if he plays all his attacking players like Bale, Moura, Kane, then Ali, then he should have no problems beating teams like Burnley. So it's just whether the defence can hold up, which I think every defence should be able to cope with Burnley at this stage. It's just kick it up to two big men, basically. So, but Spurs are susceptible in the air, to be honest. Their centre-backs aren't great, but I think they should have too much for Burnley.
Yeah, sure. You'd imagine so. I think Connor is, like we were saying, do you think this is just a perfect game for Mourinho to try to take the pressure off him and try to get a run of results and see if they can have a crack getting into those European spots?
Yeah, I think I expect it to be sort of one of those sort of old-fashioned games. It's quite a physical game. I don't expect there to be many goals in it. I was going to go for a 1-0 Tottenham win, but I think it's just a matter of Spurs just sort of staying in it and being patient to finally break them down. But like, I mean, surely they should have enough against Burnley, especially when they're at home as well. It'd be different if they're open turf more.
I was going 1-0. I'm going with 2-0. They seem to beat these sort of teams like 2-0, Kane and Son. It's literally, I've seen about 5 different situations like that. 2-0. Charlie?
Yeah, I was going to go 2-0 as well.
And Luke?
I was also going to go 2-0, but I'll go 3-1 now just to not be the same.
And Connor, you went 1-0. So moving on to the big game of the weekend. Chelsea versus Manchester United. This is a big one. It is. Like, I think a win for United will probably more or less guarantee Champions League for them. I still think, don't get me wrong, you're going to get Champions League. You're not going to bottle it, but I'm just saying, just to be sure. I think if United were playing Lampard's Chelsea, I would fancy them, but I'm liking to look at Tuchel's Chelsea. I think they don't create enough like for it to be a sustainable run of form, in my opinion. I think Tuchel will definitely be wary of that going forward. But I actually, it's a difficult one because for United in big games, they seem to be pretty happy to take a nil or take a draw, as we've seen this season. Charlie, I'll go to you first, considering you're a United fan. Would you like to see Ollie be a bit more kind of adventurous, even if it's a big game, to see if maybe you can get 3 points here? Because in my opinion, you have the better 11. Like, you should be going here and going to Stamford Bridge and saying, look, we're the better team. There's a reason we're second in the league. We're going to take you on.
Well, I think the issue is if we can't counter-attack, we can't even score past the likes of Sheffield. So, saying we could take them toe-to-toe, I don't think our attacking system is good enough. I don't think our attacking system even exists, to be honest. But Dan James is going to play, so that's great. Greenwood is injured. He's out of the game today. I'd like to point out that Dan James scored 1 goal against a dead Sociedad who pushed really high up the pitch, and he gets to play the next game. Martial scored 2 against Southampton, didn't get to play the next game. If that was Diallo who scored against Sociedad, he wouldn't have played the next game. Why is Dan James in our starting 11? It's embarrassing. He's not a good footballer, and he's just there for press and energy purposes. But that's no good because none of our other players can press anyway. So it's just ridiculous. He shouldn't be anywhere near the starting 11. He shouldn't even be coming off the bench against the likes of Chelsea. Luke's laughing there. I don't know what he's laughing about. These low quality footballers we're employing, it's absolutely embarrassing. I can name about 20 wingers better than him, and it's not his fault. I don't think he's Man United quality, but he got here somehow thanks to our great scouts. So
Martial's gonna be benched.
I can't be arsed watching some fucking, what's it called, road runner just sprint up and get bodied by the likes of Reece James, Azpilicueta, and even Alonso, I think, will deal with him quite comfortably.
So wait, Martial's getting benched then?
Yeah, I don't think Martial will play unless he bags a hat for today or something.
No, man. That's actually bad. That is really bad. Nah. Surely Cavani up top, Rashford on the right, and then Martial on the left. Why is he playing Dan James? This is my problem.
He's still injured.
Oh, right. Okay.
So Martial might play up front, but Dan James is definitely going to play on the right, I'd say, considering Greenwood's injured now.
I don't know, man. I think Ollie Ollie confused me sometimes. I don't understand. It's almost as if, why is he? I don't understand. His allegiance to Dan James. Obviously, look, he works hard and stuff like that. But this is Chelsea. You know what I mean? You need to be putting your best foot forward. Yeah, maybe Martial isn't in the best form ever. He's having a tough season, but you need to have him on the pitch because he does have the quality to do something. Honestly, that is bewildering. I don't know what Dan. It's I'm sorry. It's like playing with 10 men. Honestly, I obviously puts the press in, but this is what I don't understand. Didn't he stop playing Lingard because all Lingard did was run around? Lingard can literally do what Dan James is doing, if not better.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. If we're playing Dan James, we could have easily played Lingard, who has more of a footballing IQ, takes up better space, makes better runs, and is better against a deep block. But anyway, Dan James is here, so we have to accept it.
Luke, with kind of Chelsea and the fact that they're not creating a lot, but they're still getting wins, with United's defence that has looked shaky, and it's always under criticism every week, no matter if you win or lose. Is there anyone you're kind of worried about on Chelsea's end, considering your defence is shaky to say the least?
I would be worried with, I'm not sure if they'll play him, but I'd be worried about Giroud, to be honest, with his physicality up against what I think will be Maguire and Lindelof. I think he could get the better of them in the air, and also with crosses coming in, I think he has the better of them. So I'd be worried about that. I'd also be worried about our attack, to be honest. I mean, we haven't scored a goal against the big six all season, apart from a penalty against Spurs. I can see us sitting in, trying to hit them on the counter attack like we usually do in big games, but it just hasn't clicked for us on the break in the big games in the Premier League this season. So I can see this going towards another boring 0-0, to be honest.
Same. I think so too. I think Chelsea really do struggle to create, and I think defensively they've been good. I don't know if Thiago Silva is still injured or not. I haven't really seen their starting 11s, but yeah, I think they've been defensively solid. I think Tuchel will be looking now just to kind of take them to another level in terms of being able to create chances. Connor, on Chelsea's end, like I was going to ask you on the Hudson-Odoi situation. I don't know if you saw it. Hudson-Odoi, in my eyes, was looking like he was going to be the poster boy of this Tuchel's team. Tuchel and him were getting along really well. He was doing all the media stuff. What do you think happened at the weekend? Like, obviously, apparently it was his attitude or something, or in the pressing or counter press or whatever. Do you agree with doing that to players? We saw with Moise Keane as well at Everton. Do you agree with that sort of kind of tactic from managers?
Well, like not really. It seemed like Tuchel, he threw Hudson-Odoi on, got frustrated because Chelsea weren't really getting back in the game at all. And then he just takes it out on Hudson-Odoi and takes him off, which is it shows up badly on the manager, on Tuchel himself, because it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, Hudson-Odoi, like, there were loads of other players on that pitch that weren't pressing. They didn't have a great attitude, who he could have taken off. Like, I mean, I'd agree with it, like, if the player was playing badly, but, like, I mean, I was watching the game, he didn't look like he was playing that badly at all.
Yeah, like,
so I did feel sorry for him.
Like, and also, as a sub, like, it is sometimes hard to come into a game, especially when your team's not playing great. I think one thing I would say is maybe Tuchel's kind of looking at like, look, there's talent in this player, and he's just trying to get a rise out of him. Like, in my opinion, I'm not the biggest fan about it, but I think what's key now for Hudson-Odoi is he needs to prove him wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's very easy just to sulk now as a player, and it is harsh. But Hudson-Odoi, we've been waiting for him to kick on for a while now. I know he hasn't been getting much game time, but I think if Hudson-Odoi is going to be the world beater Chelsea fans claim him to be, he needs to respond and he needs to, prove him wrong. I think maybe that is the tactic of Tuchel. It's a bit weird. To be honest, I don't really agree with it, but we'll have to wait and see. Predictions now, boys. I'm honestly going to go with 0-0. To be honest, I don't want to watch the game because I'll be disappointed if United. I think United can go beat them. To be honest, I think they're a better team. But I'm going to go 0-0. Connor.
I'm going to go 1-0 United. Just like I think everyone's going to go for 0-0, so I'm just going to switch it up a bit.
Charlie?
2-0 Chelsea.
Jesus. Luke?
Yeah, I'm going to go 0-0.
Right. Okay. I don't know, Charlie. I don't like this negative attitude, Charlie. We pro clubs after this, for fuck's sake. Anyway.
Stick of Baz and Lindelof.
Yeah, I know. Lastly, before we finish up, Sheffield, Liverpool. Honestly, like, I don't even want to fucking, like, it's just, I think obviously the news this morning about Alisson, I hope he doesn't play. Like, that's horrible to happen, and I hope he doesn't play, to be honest. He deserves some time off. And obviously, like, it's Keller can come in. We should be dominating the game anyway. Henderson's now out for a while now, but we've got Jota back. Kite is back into the frame. I think Fabinho's fit. No one really knows anything about Fabinho, but I think he's fit. And I'm hoping we can see him in midfield against Sheffield. They're going to be physical in this. We need someone with we need to kind of bully them. And Fabinho is great at doing that. And I think we should be beating Sheffield even with Kabak and Phillips, Kabak and Davies centre back. I'd like to see Davies if he's fit, because why would we buy him if we're not going to play him against the worst team in the league? But Connor, with Klopp now, he's definitely going to be thinking about how he's going to turn this around. Would you like to see a change in system? Maybe we go 3 at the back or would you like to see 4-2-3-1? Stick an extra attacker on, considering Jota's fit now. Because whatever's happening, it's just not, whatever's going on now, it's not working. What do you think? Like, would you like to see a change of system at the weekend?
Yeah, I personally I would like to see a 4-2-3-1, just to get an extra bit of creativity. And I'm not sure if Jota is going to be fit for the weekend, but he's definitely really close to full return.
Yeah.
I think against Sheffield, like obviously the worst team in the league, I think we just need to go out and just attack them and just attack. There's no point like trying to like score a goal or two and then be happy with it. Like if we attack them, they'll be more cautious and sit back.
Yeah.
I think it is a game that like we do have to win. I think the target now is obviously top four. It's not the league is gone. City are going to run away with that now. And I think it's also important to go on a good run in the Champions League now. See if we can do that, we can build a bit of momentum, a bit of confidence, and I think it'd be like really big if we could go far in that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important now that we can look. In fairness, we deserve to, not deserve to make excuses, but you get what I'm saying. Like we deserve to be cut some slack a little bit with this season. Everything's gone wrong, but I think we just need to really just go for it now. Try our best, see what happens. And look, to be honest with you, I'm not expecting much, but I'm kind of close to writing off the season, to be honest with you, with the amount of problems we've had. But yeah, I completely agree. Just before we finish up, Luke and Charlie, Charlie first actually, quick word on Sheffield. Do you see anything in this game?
No, I think Sheffield they're just not great, are they? I think McBurney and Brewster, obviously McBurney got bought last season and Brewster in the summer. Yeah. Neither of them are scoring goals. I think Brewster is down to like 5th choice now, so like wasn't the greatest investment. Their defense is like it's marshaled by Jagielka most of the time, so like that tells you all you need to know. And then without Burge in midfield, I think they'll struggle. So I think this will be a comfortable Liverpool win, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know with us. Luke, do you think the main aim is just to try and get McGoldrick to bully Kabak?
Yeah, I think the main effort or the main goal of Sheffield is always just to work hard and nick a goal, to be honest. I don't think they have the quality to be in this league, to be honest. Like it's nothing against them. Like they work hard, but I don't think they're good enough for the Premier League, really.
Yeah, just predictions. I'm going to go with, we're going to bounce back, yeah? I'm going 3-0 Liverpool, right? And Firmino's going to score. He's back. Right, Connor, you're next.
Yeah, I was going to go for the same, 3-0. I reckon Firmino will get 2 and Salah will score as well.
Yeah, Luke?
Is it at Anfield or no?
It's at Sheffield.
Oh, I'll go 2-0 then. I don't know how many times Connor's predicted a Firmino brace, by the way.
It's going to have to happen at some point.
Yeah, it has to happen eventually.
Or on the weekend.
Charlie?
2-0 Liverpool, Salah brace.
Okay. Yeah, we need a win, definitely. But yeah, that kind of wraps it up for this weekend. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe, send to your mates, all that. Follow us on Twitter as well. I'm trying to get to like 1.5k like soon. Connor, put their links in the description. I'll remind you later. Anyways, thanks a million for watching again. And yeah, thanks lads and goodbye.